This is the danger of the Republicans harming the Republican Party. This is why I am so passionate about the damage that Elon Musk, Trump, Rubio, Johnson, these crew of oligarch-like legislators are harming, deeply dividing the Republican Party, because it's so dangerous when you have the fact that you've got people already ready to just leave the Republican Party. You've got legislators leaving the Republican Party. Meanwhile, in Washington, they passed a law where you're going to have law enforcement and prosecutors, non-citizens, are going to have the right to take the freedom of citizens. If somebody they're giving work permits to foreigners that are not United States citizens. And it's so vague, it doesn't even say, like, they're just given a work permit. Person's legally authorized to work in the United States under federal law. And it was passed. It was passed. This is March 20th, 2025. Where do you see this in the news? I just happened to stumble upon this, right? This is why it's so important for the Republicans to stop the tyranny, the things that Donald Trump is doing, and Pam Bondi. I mean, basically, they're trying to make a king. Things that have been set in place forever since our country has been created. That judges, we're a balance and checks system. And presidents are accountable to judges, whether they like them or not. And that's the law. Slashing Medicare and Medicaid and slashing Social Security. People have to drive for hours to even have to go in. And they're not only that, they cut the offices, the amount of staff that works at Social Security that you have to drive to just even go apply in person, which wouldn't actually be a problem to prevent fraud on the phone, to verify IDs in person. I don't actually have a problem with that, but you cut the amount of staff that it's so harmful. And slashing the VA, you're doing horrible things that are causing people outrage. They won't even listen to the Republican voters. They're shutting down town halls. You've got Democrat legislators going to Republican districts. They're losing Republican voters, which means the Democrats are going to take the House and Senate, and they're going to win again. And they're passing laws. So it's dangerous to have the Democrats back in power. Right now, it's horrible things being done by the Republicans, okay? Attacking our allies, weakening our defense, him so invested in rare earths that all he cares about, he's making enemies across the world. I mean, he is causing damage to our Republican Party. That's the main thing that I'm concerned about. I'm seeing the destruction of our Republican Party. And it's almost like, which one's worse? Is it the Democrats? Because they're giving power to foreigners to allow them to be prosecutors and cops? I mean, you've got terrorists coming in, okay? And you know what? The Republicans are just as much to blame for the amount of people that came in because they didn't take Biden to court for violation, to get injunctions, to enforce the federal laws they were violating. And they didn't seek to impeach him. And you know why? They're exposing themselves now that they don't believe courts should have powers over presidents. So it's almost like, why didn't they take him to court? They had the ability. That was their duty. But the Republican Party is so damaged and it's so destructive. We need new Republicans. We need people to be coming in. But the media is harming the Republican. I'm just begging people. The Republicans are the voters who got this worship their leader, especially Christians. I call you out in the name of Jesus. You have the absolute duty to not worship your leader, okay? And God gave a a balance and checks system. And yes, we have to sit here and watch the horrible things that the Democrats do, but you have to hold your Republicans in Congress accountable. You have to understand and you have to respect that God divinely ordained our balance and check system. And it is the people's lackadaisical, apathetic, lukewarm, dealing with our legislators and just wanting to put their trust into one person over our country. And that is not what God ordained for this land. He ordained balances and checks. And you just have to pray. You have to stand up. You have to be proactive. You have to deal with your legislators who failed to hold Biden accountable when he violated federal laws. You have to hold Trump accountable. Okay, you cannot accept his ideology being pushed, trying to push our country into a dictatorship, because this is what's causing the loss of voters of the Republican Party. And I'm telling you now, it is going to be a severe judgment when Democrats continue to get power back because of the lean Democrats and the lean Republicans who are swing voters. And when they see horrible things that the leader's doing that's not being held in check, because you people are pushing this ideology that we should be a dictatorship and judges don't have no power. Judges don't have no power over presidents. Yes, they do. They always have. You've got to stand up. You've got to pray to God. You've got to be diligent. You've got to be proactive, because right now, this is bad. This is bad. This is bad. They should never give any kind of prosecutorial position to somebody who's not a United States citizen. That's just ridiculous. Okay? Now, this is one state. This is one state. Okay? But I'm telling you, right now, people, anybody who is pushing the idea that judges don't have the jurisdiction or the power to hold a president accountable for their actions, which the Supreme Court, all the judges say yes they do, wanting a dictatorship, wanting a king, is from Satan.